So my name is James, and this is my beautiful wife Jennifer, and we were going to tell you our testimony. Growing up as a young boy, I didn't regularly attend church. I didn't know really who God was or ever heard of Jesus. My home as a young child consisted of a lot of turmoil. Basically, there was a lot of fighting, arguing. My parents fought over things basically of the flesh, things that things of money, and just things that really didn't matter. I was kind of just got kind of used to that, and I thought that was a normal life. And so as I gotten older, as a younger boy, we moved, and things had started getting just getting worse and worse, and eventually my family just kind of grew apart, and my mom and dad divorced. And so when they divorced, my dad kind of went off and did his thing, and I lived with my mom. My dad was he was an alcoholic, a drug addict. My mom was a drug addict. I lived with my mom, and she just basically wasn't the mom that you need as a young boy. And my dad wasn't there. He was out drinking and going to clubs and doing whatever, and just wasn't there for me as a father figure also. So living with my mom and her being a drug addict, she really wasn't there as a mother figure. And my father being alcoholic, he was hanging out with his friends and just doing whatever. So I really didn't have a family. I didn't have people in my life to really just show me love. And I needed you need that as a young boy. And I got older and got into high school, and really got into football, but also started getting into drinking a lot and going and partying. And again, not having father figure there really. My dad would show up, on weekends every once in a while and give me a $20 bill, and I guess think that's sufficient enough for me at that time or whatever. But you just really need someone to help you, to guide you, to mold you, and I didn't have that. And so I started just skipping school a lot, just doing whatever I wanted to do. My mom, she was on pills, so she just basically kind of just slept and would go out on weekends, and just wasn't there for me or my brother. And I ended up not graduating when I got out of high school. I got a job doing machinist work, but I got an apartment with a friend, and my dad was there now because I was out of high school, so we could go out partying. So I really started getting into to really drinking, and basically I became an alcoholic at a very young age. I became what my father was. And one night I meet this beautiful girl at a nightclub. She was across the club, and we were both dancing. And so friends of mine went up to her friends, and we all kind of met each other and kind of started hanging out on weekends. And eventually me and her started dating, but our relationship wasn't a God-centered or Christ-centered relationship, because I had no clue who Christ was, and how to even be a good boyfriend, or I didn't really know what even love was, or how to show love towards somebody else. And so our relationship kind of struggled. And then how long into our relationship you got pregnant?
3 months.
So 3 months in, she became pregnant, and she came to me one morning. I was working nights. She came to me one morning and said she was pregnant.
Asked me what we're going to do about it.
Yeah.
And I gave him 2 choices. You can either stay or you can leave. But I had already made my decision to keep the baby.
Mm-hmm. So she was, you were 18 years old?
Yes. Well, I was 18 when I got pregnant with Caleb, and 19 whenever he was born.
So at 18 years old, this young woman is strong enough to tell me that, no, I don't know what's going to happen in our future, but I'm going to stand up for this kid. This is my kid, and I'm going to have it. But with the character that I had, I was looking at me and in my life, and saying, no, I really didn't want this kid. I didn't want to be a father. That's the kind of character I'd have. Sometimes God will give you blessings, and your character isn't ready. You're not ready to receive that blessing, and I wasn't ready. I wasn't. I didn't want that blessing, and I didn't see it as a blessing. And so she had the baby, and when he was 1 year old, I was just hanging out with wrong people. I was getting into a lot of fights, still going to clubs, still drinking. I started getting into doing drugs, and so by this time I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict, stealing, fighting. I ended up going to prison, and so I was in prison for a year and a half. I got to watch my son, at that time, grew up in pictures. He was 1 year old. When I got out, he was 3 years old. And so she's at home as a single mother, basically, working minimum wage to support, this baby that she has. And she's still sending me money while I'm in the prison system. And that's just kind of a testament to her to just, she still loved me for some reason.
Absolutely. Well, I was already a statistic. And I really feel that if Caleb was not born, that we would not be together today. I wanted to try to change that. I really felt in my heart that we eventually could make this work. And I was willing to try.
Yeah, and she never gave up on me. And I was getting letters from her, and she was committed to find an apartment while I was in prison so that when I got out of prison, I actually had a place to go live. I didn't have to go live with the people I had been hanging out with or whatever. And so I got out of prison, and I moved straight in with her and my son. And you would think that I would want to change my life then, but I even got worse into the drugs and alcohol, and just basically turned into a monster. I got into to crystal meth, and it turned my life upside down, and I put them through so much pain and so much misery for 10 plus years. I
became a monster. One word sums it up. He was a monster. There would be days that he would be angry, and I didn't know why. I had no clue what he was doing. He was hiding all this from me. Once I did find out what was going on, I had to educate myself. I would go to the library, and I would get books on crystal meth, and I would just read up. And this whole time I was with his family saying, we need to do something. We need to get him intervention. He needs some type of help. Not knowing that it was going on with his family as well. So I felt like I was by myself, and there was, nothing that I could do but pray for him. Things got bad with us, and, I had stopped going to church. And I just was listening to KSBJ one day, and they were doing, the 90-day challenge, and I just started listening to the music, and I was called back to church. And so I took Caleb, and we went to church, and I would invite James to go, and half of the time he wouldn't go.
Most of the time at the beginning, I wouldn't go. I didn't want to go. I had no interest in it, but there was a time where I had went to rehab because I was kind of trying to get sober towards the end, and I had tried so many different things. I tried rehab, tried doing it myself. I would take vacations from work to take a week off so I basically could detox and sober up, and lay in bed in pain and misery while she took care of me. And then a week later or 2 weeks later, I'd be doing the same thing. I mean, that's addiction. That's what I was. I was addicted. I would have to wake up in the morning and ingest drugs just to be able to go out and function properly, which I wasn't functioning. I was barely even existing. I had drugs on me 24/7. I would be gone sometimes days at a time. I would get off work and hurry up and leave before she got home because I didn't want to be around them. I wanted to go do whatever else. Didn't want to be a father. Didn't know how to be a husband or boyfriend or whatever.
And to avoid a fight.
Yeah, and
Everybody would be so excited when Friday would come because it was the weekend, and that's when my nightmare started, was every weekend. I knew it was coming every weekend, so there would be times where I would go ahead and initiate the fight with him because I knew it was coming regardless, and I was always right. He never let me down at that part because I knew it was coming. It was almost like I was trying to prepare myself.
And then when I went to rehab, it was an outpatient rehab. My job actually, through my insurance, even paid for me to go to this rehab. So I was getting a check going to rehab, and I would leave the rehab. I'd actually be in the rehab and I'd fight with them about, well, I can drink as long as I just stop doing the drugs. Well, not knowing that they go hand in hand anyway. And then I would leave the rehab and go to a restaurant or whatever and just start drinking right after I'd leave the rehab. So she had started going to church, and I had went out on a binger one night, and I came home and she was pregnant with our second child, Cameron, about 8 months. And I came home, and she basically told me, met me at the door and said, "This is it. You're not going to be around, and I'm not going to let you, do to this child what, you've been around the other one doing, and you're not going to be here. You need to make a choice." So I started going to church with them. I figured, I might as well try. I went for a while, went every once in a while, and
We'd sit at the back, and then we'd have to sit over to the side so we could watch the clock go down when it was time to leave.
Yeah, I was just going just to go. I was just just a body in the church or whatever, and then some started, working in me. I guess maybe God started, softening my heart, and I started kind of listening and started. I got a Bible. Your mom bought me a Bible, and I started reading the Bible, and just started. He just started softening my heart and started changing my heart, and I had started listening to a bunch of sermons online, and just one night I knew this is it. I mean, the peace that they talk about. They talk about this man named Jesus. That he died. He came from heaven, sent by God. He was born of a virgin. He came down on earth. He did all these amazing miracles. He was perfect, and he brought people back to life. But he died for me, for the person that I was at that time. I was dead. I was dead in my sin and dead in my trespasses, and you're telling me that this perfect man, sinless, that was sent from God, died for me. And I mean, how can I deny that? It's almost, I knew who I was. Like I'm a worthless sinner. That's who I am. That's who I am. I'm over 5 years sober today because of Jesus. He is everything to me. Every day I wake up now, instead of ingesting drugs, I ingest Scripture. I get down on my knees and I thank Him for sobriety, for the family that He has blessed me with. Now I can receive these amazing blessings as we just had a new child. I get to go down to the prison ministry and preach the gospel to prisoners. And I think I'm going to do that till the day I die.
The thing is, too, is that I've been in church since I was 2. I've been going to the First Baptist Church since I was 2 with my mom. And I was saved as a young girl when I was in middle school. And whenever I reached my high school days, I strayed. And as we told our story, I was involved in the nightclubbing and the occasional drinking with James and going back and forth with him. But I just hit a point in my life where I couldn't do it anymore. That's whenever I started going back to church. I asked James to come, and he did, and the Holy Spirit got in touch with him that one time, and it was all over after that. And the thing is that I saw the man that that he was, that God had changed him. And there was just something there. There was that spark there that I didn't have in my life that I needed. And so in a way, it's almost like I led him to church and he followed. And in turn, after seeing the change that God made in him, he led me back to where I needed to be, where I wasn't. And you think that you have to have this perfect life in order to come to God, and you don't. He wants you just as you are. And so that day in church, I prayed and rededicated my life, and it's just been amazing. It's been an amazing walk with James, and if I had to do it all over again, knowing that this is the outcome, I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, just like we were at dinner, 17 years later and 3 kids. It's amazing.
It is amazing.